Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy Lil Brownie here, and you already know the routine. Let's get right into it. Avengers Endgame is the culmination of a decade of superhero movies all set in the same cinematic universe, starting from the very first Iron Man movie back in 2008. Yes, 2008. That's over 10 years ago. And yet, here we are today with the finale of a saga that began with one man who built a powerful supersuit in a cave with a box of scraps. This movie is a monumental achievement, no doubt about it. And I feel terribly sorry for people who never got into the superhero movie craze because there's absolutely no way that I can describe the emotional intensity that was filled in my theater room while this movie was playing. And I feel as if those people really missed out on something truly marvelous. Let's get into the non-spoiler review. For those of you who don't know, this movie is over 3 hours long, and boy does it feel like it. Even as I'm writing the script for this review, I feel so tired and exhausted, despite the fact that all I did was sit in a recliner chair for 3 hours while I stuffed my face full of popcorn. But regardless, let's talk about the positives of this movie. Although it starts out slow, this movie has possibly one of the greatest third acts that I've ever seen in any movie ever. I'm serious, it's that good. This is Marvel after all, so you already know what to expect. There's incredible action, great visuals, great acting, great character development, and an unrelenting amount of badass moments that will make the audience cheer and clap and go insane. Seriously, there's tons of awesome moments in this film that will make any fan lose their minds, and that is not an exaggeration. This is all coming from a DC fan, by the way.
Why you booing me? I'm right.
Yeah, I am a DC fan. Please don't crucify me. I know most of their movies are garbage, I'm not denying that. But I've always preferred the DC superheroes over the Marvel ones. So, if a DC fan is saying that you'll have a great time seeing this film, then you better believe that this movie is something special. Another positive thing about this movie is that it feels very much like a conclusion. Despite being so bloated and this saga having been set up for so many years, they somehow managed to bring the movie to an extremely satisfying close. This movie included almost every iconic moment from the comics that fans have been asking for all along, and I'm honestly amazed by how well they managed to close off their stories with all these characters. I remember watching the previous Avenger movies and thinking, man, it'd be so cool if they did this or that, and believe me, in this movie, they did all of that, and I can't thank Marvel enough for it. One main negative that I remember hearing about Infinity War was that Captain America had barely gotten any screen time and that Iron Man pretty much stole the show in that entire film, and I agree with that. However, this movie makes up for it. If you're a fan of Cap, you're going to be very happy with how much this movie focuses on his character and his arc over this entire saga. Technically speaking, Captain America was the first Avenger. It says so in the title of the first movie, so I am glad that he got the respect and love that he deserves. It truly makes for a beautiful conclusion that I don't think they could have topped in any way. But, despite all of these positives, the movie isn't perfect. As I mentioned before, the movie is 3 hours long, so you better plan out those bathroom breaks strategically so you don't miss any of the important bits. This movie has an extremely long, dragged out first act that really does a disservice to how incredible the last third of the film is. I also think that the 3 hours weren't really deserved since there were many things that happened in this movie that didn't have much to do with the overall narrative, and they simply make an already long movie feel much longer. I know this doesn't sound like a huge negative, and in the large scheme of things it kind of isn't since the ending makes up for it, but it's still an issue that I need to mention. But truth be told, that's the only negative that I can think of. Or at least the only one that I can talk about without getting into strict spoilers. Obviously, there are more problems with the movie, but they're mostly small nitpicks. In no way do those small issues detract from how incredible this achievement of a film is, and I can absolutely see any fan giving this movie a solid 10 out of 10 score, and I probably wouldn't argue against them. However, I have to be as unbiased as possible, and I need to rate this movie as a movie and not just from the point of view of a hardcore fan. As such, my final score for this movie is a really high 8 out of 10, and I can easily recommend it to anyone who is a fan of superhero movies. If you haven't seen any of these films and have been out of the loop, you might want to do some catching up first before you see this, but I'd still recommend you see it no matter how much preliminary research you need to do. Creating such a large movie universe is no easy task. Just look at how the Dark Universe and how the DC Cinematic Universe failed so majestically. Making a cinematic universe is not as easy as just making a bunch of movies and having them all be set in the same timeline in the same world. The amount of planning and careful consideration that goes into making an overarching theme and story that connects all these beautiful films together is astounding, and the fact that Marvel managed to accomplish it with such grace is worthy of a goddamn Nobel Peace Prize on its own. Thank you once again, Stan Lee, for giving us all these iconic heroes, and Marvel, just keep doing what you're doing. Thank you so much for watching my review. If you liked it, hit the like button, and if you didn't, hit the dislike button. Just be honest, that's all I ask. Let me know what your favorite scene was in this movie in the comments below, but be sure to give a spoiler warning for other people who haven't seen it yet. If you want to see more movie reviews and a possible non-spoiler discussion on Endgame, be sure to subscribe. Thank you once again for watching. I'd love to stay and talk, but I gotta get back to my bakery before these brownies get burnt, man. I'm sorry. This is Little Brownie, signing out. Peace.